There she is. Awesome. Thanks for looking out for her, Wendy.
Yeah, no problem.
And so you can't see her because she's at work, but my sister's on too. That's Tracy up in the corner for me. Do you have a question, Erin? Jan? You're just saying hi? I don't know. Anyways, okay, so we're recording. So if you don't know why we're here, let me just explain. Hi, Erin. Let me explain why we're here. So this is the 7-day Muse Method Challenge. And the reason why I even wanted to do this is because I've been challenging a lot of the clients that I'm currently working with to do the Muse Method, which I'm going to explain in a minute, 3 times a day for only 1 minute each time, right? So I call it like the Muse Method 1.0 because it's like the Mini Muse Method. What we do in a session is way bigger and longer, and we go in and dive deeper. But the Mini Muse Method has the power of changing your life just as much, because the whole intention of the Muse Method is to breathe life into you. And so that sounds all lovely and airy-fairy, but what I want to say to that is, how much of your life do you feel tends to snuff you out or crowd you out or overwhelm you so much that like you have a hard time finding yourself in some moments, or you move throughout the day and you're like, I started this morning with me and I'm not sure where I got lost, but I got lost in the day. And so that's why it's not just once a day, it's 3 times a day. And if you have to set a timer on your phone for the middle of the day one, I would encourage you to do so. The pattern that I've gotten in is, I want to say it's before I get out of bed, but it's not. It's usually in the shower I do it. I close my eyes, put my hands on my body, and I breathe. And I'm going to get into it a little bit more in a second. And then I prompt myself multiple times a day. I do this more than 3 times a day. Anytime I feel like I'm moving out of myself, I'm getting contracted, feeling anxious, feeling depressed, getting irritated, just feeling lost, feeling empty. All of those things for me are, most people's word is a trigger. To me, it's a catalyst or an invitation to move back to myself, right? And then I do it before I go to sleep. So I don't want to tell you what the benefits are other than breathing life into you, because I would like you guys to discover what they are all by yourselves, right? So as you're doing it, I want you to notice what happens in your body, what happens in your sleep, what happens in your relationships, what happens in your mood. Just move into this week curiously, like what's going to happen if I do this? I wonder what will happen for me. And then the Facebook group, I love Wendy, totally snuffed at the moment. I love it. And so in the Facebook group, you can share. So you can get on and like do a Facebook Live and share how you're doing, that you're doing it. You can write a post. I just ask that if you share, you also interact. So I'm a real advocate for not just giving, but also receiving. So receiving the words of somebody else, read their post and then respond to that. If somebody responds to your post, make sure you respond back to them, because we're not in a one-way flow in life, right? We take breaths. So every breath that we take has an outward bound energy and an inward bound energy. So if you're just showing up for you in the Facebook group, it's going to feel really flat, right? And so, and if you don't show up, that's okay too. But if you do decide to show up, make sure that you're breathing, right? So it's an in and out. Sorry, hold on. My alarm just keeps wanting to go off. That means I haven't dealt with it. Okay. So those are the whys. We're moving so fast because it's 20 minutes. The what is the Muse Method, okay? So the Muse Method is 3 main things, okay? It's hands on your body, and I'm going to tell you where and why. Breathing, and you're wanting to breathe all the way through to the bottom of your stomach, right to your root all the way and back out, and then eyes closed. The reason why we close our eyes is because we have more wisdom within the cells of our body than we do in our brain. So most of us want to use our brain, and our brain is based on what is past and what we've seen in protection. So if you just go to the brain, we often have a war. And so we want to move into the cellular wisdom and into the soul wisdom, like the essence, the space between all of our cells. So that's why we're closing our eyes, because it helps to move us out of the brain into the body. The breath actually breathes life into who we are, right? So my best analogy is a lot of us are walking around with chunks of ice in our body, all the heaviness, all the stuff that we've absorbed from other people, and it just gets hard and icy and cold and empty. And so as we breathe into the base of our stomach, we actually breathe into the fire of who we are. And that fire starts to melt, and then eventually, the fire doesn't melt, it melts the ice. But as we turn the fire up, it eventually doesn't just make it liquid, it vaporizes it, right? And so as we breathe life into us, that fire takes up more of who we are, and it takes up more of our body. And so instead of focusing on the problems and pulling them out one at a time and then finding that new problems find their space, we actually take the space of us up with ourselves. And then we emanate this warm glow, right? As we fill up with more of the fire of who we are, we don't just fill up our body, but the space around us. And so there's a glow that happens around us. And so what happens in our interactions starts to change. So the breath actually breathes life into us. The eyes closed moves us out of our brain and into our internal wisdom, our soul fire. And the hands-on is really key, because you're going to find where you hold what most people would call anxiety or pressure or whatever. And I call it's like the you that's trapped, that's begging, like, put in a room and it's banging on the doors and all of this, asking to get out. And you're just like, oh, okay, I'm here with you. I'm putting my hands, I feel you. It's okay. Like I'm going to actually listen and pay attention so that I can hear you and do what you need me to do. So, opening a door in a metaphor is really easy, but when we actually listen to ourselves, it could be things like, stop talking to that person who's taking the life out of you. Start doing this over here because it's going to breathe life into you. Take some time off today and stop feeling guilty. All these things, if we start listening to that muse that's inside who's begging for our attention, life starts to change. So, no, any questions before we actually do one for only 1 minute, but any questions at the moment? No? Okay. We got Julie. Okay, 1 second. All right. So let me just look at around 2. I don't think we started on time, but we're about 12 minutes in. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to tap into your own body. And I want you to ask yourself at this moment, where do you generally feel pressure, anxiety, heaviness? Okay. So, some people might feel it in their breath or in their chest. And so if that's the case, one of your hands is going to go there. Some people feel it in their neck. If it's somewhere in your back, try to put your hands on your body at the front where it would connect to your back. So like your shoulder blade, you could put it right here. A lot of people have a lot of pressure in their head. A lot is right here. So the other thing that what you're doing is, while you're figuring out where to put your hands at the moment, you kind of want to just even move them around just for a second until you feel your body just go that. Like there's a moment where you just put your hands on your body and you go, okay, Like it's almost like your body sighs with relief that you're just putting it there. That's where I want you to end. Don't overthink it. Okay. If you keep on moving, just put your hands on and trust the process. Okay. So this is where my body's like, thank you. Okay. So this is, yes, go ahead, Debbie.
You said front, but is the back of the neck okay? You can reach it comfortably?
Yeah, if you can reach, go ahead and put your hand there. But I'm saying like if it's in your back, which most of my back I can't, well, I can reach the bottom. I would rather put it on the front. Yeah. So if you can put your hands there, then go there. So I'm gonna go back to my space. Okay. All right. And so, oops. And then I'm gonna set the timer for 1 minute, and we're gonna close our eyes and just breathe silently for 1 minute. All right, we're starting. So close your eyes. Just let yourself get into the breath. Just breathe. Okay, so that is 1 minute. It's pretty fast. And my desire for you guys, if you're gonna do the whole challenge, is to do that 1 minute, hands on, close your eyes and breathe 2 more times today. And then tomorrow we're gonna do it together once and then 2 more times. So each day that you're doing that. So in the 1 minute, did anybody experience anything other than it was the same as when they started? And you'll have to unmute yourself.
I guess I just felt like heaviness lifted.
Uh-huh.
I was a little tense, like I've got tons of things. I got a meeting in 12 minutes, you know what I mean? So, but I was like, all right, no.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like a little weight lifted off for a very short time, but it was lifted off.
Awesome. Awesome. And so you and I work together. So like you might even want to do this more times throughout your day, right? Just so that you can continue. Because, you think about like picking up weights. It's why people take breaks in exercise classes. Like all of a sudden you have your strength back, right? Your clarity back again. So what we're going for is for it to like melt and vaporize. And the other thing I want to say is the melting point can also bring up things like oozing out. So like for me, it started to bring up emotions and I'm like, that's okay. You don't need to understand why the emotions are coming up. Their energy and motion allow them just to move out. So if you need to cry, if you need to like do a silent scream, if you need to like go hit a pillow or something, allow yourself to do that because it's literally coming out from the cells in your body and releasing. Okay. Anything else anyone else wanted to share? Because we only have 2 minutes left.
Can you explain just quickly again what exactly it is we're doing when we do this?
So what is like, you're putting your hands on your body.
Right.
You're breathing the whole time. And you're closing your eyes. And your intention is to literally breathe life into you. So you're not asking to think, nothing. You're watching what touch, eyes closed, and breath will do for you.
But is it like a deep breath or is it just like breathing like normally?
I breathe deep. And so really I want you to ask yourself and watch, like be curious. Sometime just breathe normally and then another time breathe deeply and see which feels better and does something for you.
Okay.
Okay? But just trust the process. Okay? It's hard. I know that you're a thinker and analytical. I am too. And that's why I can do this because I'm like probably the biggest skeptic of all. But if you allow this to work for you, it will work for you. Okay, so just keep doing it and playing with it and being curious. Don't try. Okay. I know. Anything else, ladies?
I felt like I'm carrying a lot of tension in my neck and my upper back, but I felt like it like actually amplified it for a little bit. And I think that means I need to do this a whole bunch of times today.
Yeah. Well, and because sometimes that's going to happen. Like for me, the emotions came up. And so it's like that fire is saying like something needs to move out. So you may need to do it more. You may need to like ask a question afterwards and say like what also needs to move in your life in order to support your body to relax. Right. So yeah, awesome. All right. We're going to meet back here at the same Zoom tomorrow at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. So anything else that shows up today as you do your two others, please feel free to put it in the Facebook group. Okay. Thanks, ladies. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.